What's going on, guys? This is Damian from The Lookout, and I'm here with my dear friend Marek, like the best black Polish player. Like, Marek just plays black, and that's that, you know? And once again, he topped an event. Last time he was second on Pyrkon with Finn, now he got 8th place with SYN Xeno. Marek, congratulations, how are you doing?
Thank you. Pretty well. I'm really happy with my results from the tournament. So
Nice. So, yeah, SYN Xeno, first of all, please tell me, why did you pick SYN Xeno, other than it's black?
okay, so as you mentioned, I am mostly a black player. So I was thinking, what kind of deck should I take to partake in the Zenkai Showdown tournament? And I tried the new Schumann Salsa, I tried other combinations, and I decided that I've been playing the Black SYN Shenron for a couple of months, and I decided that without the new proper support for Black, I should go with something I'm familiar with. And I was really counting on the alternative winning condition that is milling out my opponent instead of trying to go through and aggro them down.
Nice. So, this is a black mill deck, so take us through the deck.
Okay, so let's start with leader. The skills are, he's a blocker, 10k on his unawakened side, and on awakened he's a 15. He has 2 autos on his unawakened side. One is when you activate a Shadow Dragon extra card from your hand, you and your opponent place the top card of your deck in your drop area, which is pretty good because we take away their resources and it helps us awaken earlier because there are 2 awaken conditions. One is, of course, being at 4 life, or have 7 or more black Shadow Dragon cards in your drop area. Then we can flip, draw 1, untap 1. And with this deck, it's pretty easy to get 7 Shadow Dragons in drop because there are only 5 cards in the 60 card deck that are not Shadow Dragons, basically.
Yeah. So,
yes?
Sorry, how many cards are you playing? 60 or?
60, yes, you have to play 60. This deck mills through itself also quite a bit. That's because most of the cards that we play here have an effect of discarding cards. And each and every the Shadow Dragon battle cards have an effect that if they're discarded via Shadow Dragon effect, we can look at the top card of the deck, and if it's a Shadow Dragon, we can draw it. So the draw is pretty good, and you can look through your deck for the necessary pieces more easily if you thin it out a little bit.
Nice.
It's a thin balance, unfortunately, so it takes quite a bit of skill. The second auto is connected to what I talked about in the before. Choose 1 Black Shadow Dragon card in your hand and discard it. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. Then switch this card to active mode at the end of the turn, because our leader have blocker. So basically, when we swing with our leader, we can discard Shadow Dragon battle card with their effect. When they're discarded via Shadow Dragon effect, we can look at the top card of our deck. If it's a Shadow Dragon, we can draw it, and then we have a +1 draw from the leader. So basically, with 1 swing, we get 2 cards. And we can also fulfill more easily our awaken condition. On the awaken side, we lose the part of the auto when we also have to mill when we use a card. Only our opponent has to mill a card now. We still have blocker. The second auto, when we attack, we just draw a card and we get plus 5k power for the turn. At the end of the turn, we switch the leader to active mode. And we have something new. It's an activate main/battle. Once per turn, spirit boost 1. We can choose up to 1 Shadow Dragon extra card in our hand and activate this activate main/battle skill without paying its energy cost. So this is like the most important ability that our leader possesses, because it allows us to mill more efficiently. We are not so energy reliant, basically. Okay, so first I have my cantrips of the deck. That would be the 1-drop Haste Shenron and 1-drop Naturon Shenron. Haze, as all of the other cards, has the auto that if he is played from our hand or discarded via the effect, we look at the top card of the Shadow Dragon, we can draw it. Deactivate main once per turn, we tap him, and we can play a level 3 from our hand. So it helps us to stack up the board, because it's also important. And the second one, the Natural Shadow, I decided to go with 4 for this tournament, because the games are pretty fast, and I can't always count that I will draw into whatever I need. So I wanted to put more emphasis on recycling the cards that I already used.
Yeah.
When he's played from the hand, we can draw a Shadow Dragon extra card from our drop area to our hand. So that's why he's here, and that's why there's so much of him. He actually did save me during my game against Broly BR. Sorry, not Broly BR. It was against Yellow Trunks and Trunks Vegeta leader, because of the Slug SR. Because when it's tapped, I cannot draw except from my leader effects. I was just playing Natron to get the cards I needed from my drop, so I could continue to play the game, basically.
Nice.
Super combo, of course. It's also Shadow Dragon. Very easy requirement, sparking 5. In this deck, we have 5 cards, turn 2 guaranteed in the drop. So it's also searchable, which helps during this meta with the red Gogeta deck, because we can use them to guard against the new SR, because it's a super combo, so you can use the effect. And by the turn 4, I have at least 2 easy. Most often than not, I have 3 or 4. There are sometimes even games that I'm wondering if I shouldn't charge to energy, because I have other better options in my hand than the super combo. The 3-drop SYN. I play 4 of those as well. I do not use them to attack. I mean, they're pretty good to, for example, swing at Unisons, if you want, if they're dangerous. But I play him mostly because of the auto with the limit 1 for 1 black. If I use Spirit Boost, I can play him from my hand, and then my opponent has to mill 1. So it's another milling engine in the deck. Plus, it's a 20k double strike beater, so that's also pretty good. Next, we have 3 copies of Nuva Shenron. It's a 20k critical. I'm not mentioning the auto about the discard, because all of the Shadow Dragons have them. So
Shadow Dragon keyword. That's it, basically.
But I rarely play him, almost never. But the activate main is very important. Because it allows us to search the dragons that are needed. And it's important to know that it has to be a battle card.
So he can get you, like, if it's clutch, he can get you your Oceanus, for example.
Yes, Oceanus or other dragons that are needed. For example, super combos. Also, but we need to be careful, because he has burst 1, and we do not want to burst our SCR. Because if we do, then there is no getting it back, basically. So I prefer to use it after I know that SCR is either in my hand or that I know it's safe somewhere in the deck.
Okay.
The next is the 3-drop Nova Uncommon. This card is pretty good. Critical 16k, which is nice, because most of the negates and irritating stuff like Wolfang Fist works on 15ks. So it will, or Yamcha, so it will survive. But what I use it mostly is to recycle my Unison, because if he's played, his effect, I can play up to one of my Towa Unison from my drop with one marker on it. It saved me a lot, many times during the tournament, because some people knew how this deck works, and they were focusing my Unison hard, and I was able to buy a round or two by just taking hits into the Unison. They were so happy that they killed it, and then I play Nova, I get it back up, and the despair begins anew.
Nice.
I play only two. The next, the most underwhelming card, I think, in the deck. It would be way better if I would try to play aggressive, and there is also a way to do that in this deck. But all the games I played, I won using Mill. So there was no necessary... This was the card that is most universal, but I also like to side deck it. Natural Shenron has a deflect blocker 20k. He has a very cool effect that when he's played, I can look through the drop area of my opponent and I can pick a keyword skill from his cards and I gain it for the turn. So if I, for example, milled a triple strike Gogeta, I can pick a triple strike. If I, for example, milled the yellow slug, I can take barrier, and so on and so on and so on. It's a very good, precise tool to use in different situations, especially if you are trying to go more offensive and try to win via life reduction, not mill. But it wasn't this useful during the last tournament. One Ice, it's a barrier blocker that can restand at the end of the turn. This was actually one of the... I had three more copies in my side deck, and most often than not, I sided the 3 Naturon to get 4 Ace Shenrons in some matchups, because, for example, Green Cell or other stuff like that, or for example, Yellow Trunks are pretty pesky, and having barrier blockers really help. Also, I was kind of scared for the structure deck Cell, and having like 3 barrier blockers on field is putting my mind a little bit more at ease against this kind of decks. So next, 2 Rages. They're just a negate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to have it. This deck works on extra cards, but it's important to not to have too many, because the deck can break. We also need to have some buddies. So I just run it because I can, to be honest. It's a 1 drop negate, basically. And when you play him, again, you look at the top of your deck. If it's a Shadow Dragon, you can draw it. So it's also pretty good. It's especially useful when playing against yellow, because of the SS4 Goku rare. That a 3-drop 20k barrier that requires me to pay extra energy for extra cards. So it's good to have like the 2 negates in the deck that do not necessarily require me to pay extra energy. And the 4-drop SYN, I think this card is more popular, I believe, because it's also used in different red decks. Deflect, double strike, barrier blocker. A Unison killer. It also boosts our mill because he has the same effect as our leader, kinda. Activate main/battle. Once per turn, spirit boost 1. We can use an extra card from our hand without paying its cost. We can restand the SYN, and our opponent also has to mill 1 card. So if we use a 1-drop extra card, he mills 2. If we use any of our 2-drops, he mills 3.
It's a great card to have, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is the only battle card Shadow Dragon which has this spirit boost active main battle besides your leader, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is. It's also very difficult to get rid of. Not many decks have barrier removal for 20k, so it's pretty safe. And they do not necessarily want to kill it. Even if we use to block something bigger, like 30 or 40k, we can still use Activate Battle to proc additional mill. So when this card's in play, we can swing, use Activate Main/Battle, untap him during our turn, use, for example, some extra card, mill, and opponent mills 2 or 3 cards, then the turn goes back to our opponent. We block the first strike. Doesn't matter how much power it is. He combos out, let's say to 50. We just use Activate Main/Battle again, untap, use a card for free. Our opponent mills 2 or 3 cards, and we can let him die. Even then, our opponent loses, well, from around 10% of his deck. Just because of this card, basically.
Crazy card, man.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I have to admit, it kind of feels bad sometimes playing him because you will most definitely tap out. But if everything turns out, if you have a proper extra cards on your hand, you will survive this turn.
Yeah.
Even if you're tapped out. Yes. Oceanus.
Of course.
I love this card. It's amazing, especially in this deck. The price is, well, high for it right now on the market, even though we have reprints in the newest promo packs, I believe. Event packs.
Yeah, we had in event packs, but it's still
expensive. Unfortunately, with red on the rise, it's not as good as we could hope it would be. 2 reasons. 1, Broly Crown of Retribution.
Yeah.
It will be, if your opponent uses it and you have Oceanus in hand, you will not have Oceanus in hand anymore. It will be most definitely killed. Yeah. And that's a very good target, I'm not gonna lie, but that is extremely irritating. Especially with the new Gogeta deck, which can play the Broly for free. Twice. I mean, he can play it twice, once for free.
Yeah, that needs to be hit at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second is the counterplay. The Vegeta counterplay from...
it was a promo.
Anniversary box, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Resolve Renewed Vegeta.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just not sure where it came out.
Yeah. He will kill it mercilessly when we play her. But what she does, she's a blocker. So that's pretty good. Counter attack and choose 1 card in your hand and and discard it. Negate the attack and play this card. If you played a card, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they place top 4 cards of their deck in their drop each time. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. The auto is same with all the other dragon cards. This card is very good for every matchup except red, because of the reasons we mentioned before. Yellow, for example, has no response to this card, so you can play it safe. Or even Gamma, for example, has a problem with this card because he either pays 4 energy to play Android 18, or he can use it's I believe Android 15 counterplay, but it just bounces Oceanus back to the hand.
Yeah.
So
Which is okay, which is perfectly fine. So
yeah, of course it's not played, but still we can use another 2 energy and use it.
yeah.
We do not use energy in this deck basically for anything else than just negating and trying to control the flow of the game. So it's not a really big loss if it just comes back to our hand. 2 copies of Omega Channel Darkness Absorbed.
It's a good one to have for removals.
Yes, it's a unique. You can for 1. If your leader card is a Shadow Dragon card, and you choose 1 black Shadow Dragon card with an energy cost of 5 or less in your battle area, and place it on its drop area, play this card from your hand. If you do, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and set it to Honor's Warp. It's a nice removal. It can also help you to go offensive and try to kill some pesky things on enemy's board, like for example tapped this yellow slug, 20k barrier, and also it helps you to keep your opponent focused on your aggressive capabilities, because you can go aggro with this deck. It is possible, and it's always an option. The second one, the Omega Shadow Ultimate Darkness, the BT15 SR, unique triple strike, 30k, very scary.
Yeah.
Activate main for 2 black. If I have 3 or more energy and send 7 black Shadow Dragon cards from my drop area to my warp, I can play this card from hand. It's a scary monster. He can do some real damage. We only play 1 because we don't need more. He has unique, and we will get him to our drop eventually, unless he's stuck in life. He's only here to put more pressure on the opponent because he knows of its existence, most often than not. And we want him in our drop because of our Unison. Towa, Resonance of Shadow, is a very important card in this deck. This is the card you want to see turn 1 in your hand. If you don't have 1, you just mulligan your whole hand if you have to, but you need to have this card turn 1 or turn 2. Every turn you wait, that it's not on the table, it's the round you'll have the most trouble with. Auto. When your leader activates a blocker skill, place the top card of your deck in your drop area, then add a marker to this card. So she helps us she helps us to awaken faster, because right now, turn 1, people mostly play a 1-drop cantrip to search, draw, stuff like that. And turn 2, they play Unison. So basically, until the beginning of turn 3, you can expect 2 to 3 attacks. Tops.
Yeah.
If they ignore your Unison and go for your life, even better. You can get some additional draw, you have some cards. Great. If someone decides to attack your Unison, then the things get a little bit trickier. You will, after the first round, you will have 2 markers on her. If they try to attack her and you block with your leader, you can put up 1 more marker to 3. Then they're less prone to attack her, because they see 10k, 3 markers. I'm not gonna go for it, and that's a mistake. This card is the beating heart of the whole deck, and she needs to be on the table. In my side deck, I even took precautions to keep her safe even if I'm tapped out. So I could untap my leader and use blocker again. Because if she dies, it's very difficult. During one of my Zenkai matches on the Team Wars, I believe, my opponent used the Supreme Kai secret to explode her twice.
Oh.
And she still came back.
Well, yeah, you have ways of recurring, so...
Yeah, so I play 4 of them because they're that important. We will also have another way to get to her if we will not have her in our starting hand, even after Mulligan. But yeah, she's pretty important. Why, you might ask? She helps us from decking out ourselves, because we have a lot of draw and a lot of milling ourselves. Because of our unawakened side. So +1, activate main, draw 1 card, then choose 1 card in your hand and up to 3 Shadow Dragon extra cards in your drop area and place them at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is awesome because, for example, one of my opponents during the Zenkai tournament was Janemba mill deck.
Oh. Yeah,
which had a pretty tough time against me because I could every turn basically put 4 cards back into my deck.
Yeah, that's like for Janemba, it's like, oh, I milled you. Every time he mills you, you just put 4 cards back. Like, okay.
Yeah, so it was very frustrating for my opponent. Plus, the way we mill in this deck is the extra cards. So as we put them back into our deck, we have more ammunition to mill our opponent's deck. And the before mentioned aggro option, -7 activate main. If your leader card is a Shadow Dragon card, choose up to 7 Black Shadow Dragon cards with different character names in your hand and or drop and play them. So basically we have a 20k double strike, 20k critical, 16k critical, 20k blocker, deflect, whatever keyword we want to take from our opponent, blocker with barrier, dual double deflect barrier, 30k beater, 30k triple strike beater. So
it's basically if they don't have a floodgate, it's basically a win the game button,
Yes.
at that point.
Yes, and when people, because like I mentioned, not many people played against this deck, and they see the Unison and they see the -7.
And they're like, oh my god, we need to stop him quickly, so...
Yes, exactly. And this is cool because if they focus on your Unison, you can use that against them because you can protect your leader better, and you have options to protect your Unison. But it's also good to have something else on the table that taunts them and keeps their attention. Or if they decide to leave it alone completely, then you can do -7 and spam the board and see the pain in their eyes.
Yeah.
Now we'll go to extra cards.
Okay.
First is the negative energy charge. It's one of the previous promo packs card that was designed especially for this archetype. It's great. It has the permanent skill that it gains Shadow Dragon in all areas, as all of our extra cards do. We can counter attack, just negate for 1 energy. That's dope. But what is cool is the activate main /battle. You send up 7 cards from your drop area to your warp, and you can choose one of 2 effects. 1, you can search for the Dragon Ball's negative energy overflow secret from your deck and activate it. Then shuffling the deck, or pay 4 and play the Black Smoke Dragon Eternal Evil card from your deck or hand, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. Cool tip: if you play the dragon, if you want to make sure that it is in fact in your deck and not in your life, you can activate the first effect to look through your deck. You know you don't have the Dragon Balls SCR.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You just look through it and check if you have dragon in your life or in your is it in your life or is it in your deck? Because then you don't have to waste 4 energies just to have a nasty surprise that your dragon turned up to be in your life, for example.
Yeah.
So it's good to keep that in mind.
I like this design. I thought that we're gonna get more with this set, but I like this cycle of promo cards, supporting decks through giving them promo cards that fetch secret rares designed for these decks. I think this is super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool, I must admit. I really do like this trend that they try to revive older decks.
Yeah, now they just need to reprint those secret rares as well, of course. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is Negative Energy Explosion. This is a great card if you... I mean, in general. It also has 2 effects. Activate main/battle limit 1. Almost all of the other dragon cards have the limit 1. So be mindful of that. It has 2 effects. For 1 energy, you either look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You can add a Shadow Dragon extra card among them to your hand and then shuffle your deck. Or if you don't have a Unison card in play, if you find among those top 7 a Unison card, you can play it with 1 marker on it. So if you have extremely bad luck and after drawing your first 6 cards, you see no Unison, then you mulligan your whole hand, you don't see your Unison again, then you can use Negative Energy Explosion in the hope that you will find a Unison you'll be able to play her turn 1. If you don't, then the heart of the cards is not on your side, and you probably your family have probably been cursed by some ancient card deity or something, because it's really bad luck.
Yeah, that's really, really bad luck, man.
Yes, of course, we play 4 of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Next, we have 2 copies of Ultimate Whirlwind Spin. It's also a pretty good card. I use it mostly to search for Oceanus, because for 1 energy I can look at the top 5 cards of my deck, and I can pick 1 Shadow Dragon battle card among them and add it to my hand. Also, if I choose 1 Black Shadow Dragon card in my hand and discard it, I can give my leader plus 1k. So it's basically mini Black Senzu, kinda, because the 16k does help. But yeah, I mostly use it as a searcher. And next is the Ultimate Dragon Quake. I play 2 because of the limit 1 effect. This one is very good, especially in current meta. During activate main/battle, you can choose up to 1 of your opponent battle cards with an energy cost greater than their current energy and send it to its owner's warp. At the end of the turn, play any card sent to warp by this skill to their owner's battle areas with their skills negated for the turn. If your opponent has 15 or fewer cards in their deck, place them in their owner's drop instead. With the recent changes to the game's core mechanics, I mean more specifically to the ultimate keyword, this is a very nasty SCR removal card. Yeah. Because even SCR, when a card with ultimate keyword skill is removed from your battle area, it is removed from the game.
Yeah, so it's like active main battle, 1 energy, remove an FCR. It's gone. Like the rest of the text doesn't matter, it's just gone.
And mill 1.
And mill 1, yeah. It's also
Let's not forget about mill 1. That's the most important effect.
yeah, it's also against Z battle cards. 1 energy, remove it.
Yes.
But that's it.
Yes. Unfortunately, it does not work against barrier cards.
Of course.
And this is what this deck struggles a bit against, is the barrier removal. We'll have one card about which I will talk in a second, but its capabilities are limited. This is great against the finishers of the current meta. It works great against the yellow Trunks Vegeta SR. That in activate battle can get triple strike, critical, some other nasty business, or even against black SYN Shenron, if the triple striker is not given barrier, you can remove it easily. So yeah, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, sometimes game lasts so long that you will not be able to use it. Because the opponent has like 6, 7, or even 8 energies at one point. So, it's good to stop the early aggressions. 3 copies of Ultimate Minus Energy Powerball.
This one is cool.
Yeah, this is the SPR art. It's a counter attack that you can use for free if you have a Black Unison card in play. It does not negate the attack, but it allows to warp one opponent's battle card 15k power or less, ignoring barrier. So, for example, black Poutines that yellow decks use so much of, or the yellow Trunks, the 1-drop with barrier, and so on, so to try to stop the evolve. But if you can't find anything to warp, it has also another effect. Again, activate main/battle, limit 1. Choose up to one of your black leader cards or battle card and gets plus 15k power until the end of the battle or the end of the turn, whichever comes first. Great boost. Love it. Helped me quite a bit. Okay,
and you mill 1.
And you mill 1. Yes, of course. From your leader's effect, you always mill 1. Ultimate Ice Ray. The card that gives me hope at night of this dark aggro-infested meta right now. This is our second floodgate, except for Oceanus. Is it better than Oceanus? I'm not sure. In this current meta, I would say probably yes. Because it is immune to the counterplays or to the Brawly Crown of Retribution, because it's an extra card. Activate main/battle for 2 energy. I mean, the cost of the card is 2 energy. Your opponent places the top card of their deck in their drop area. So, mill 1, then mill 1 from leader's effect, so mill 2. Additionally, you may choose 2 black cards in your hand and discard them. If you do, your opponent can only attack with battle cards 1 more time for the turn.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. People nowadays like to attack with Unisons first or with leader first, so to get the draw effect. So when they swing with leader, do not negate. Take it on. You can or take it on a blocker or anything. Use this, and you already are pretty sure you will survive the round.
Yeah, it's
basically
this deck's semi-dormant potential.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Yes. And mill 2.
And mill 2, of course.
Next, one Ultimate Dragon Tackle. It's here because of reasons. It's also mill 2, and it's here mostly to be side decked right now, I think. I most often than not use it as to side another 2-drop card that I might need. But if I do not side, it's also pretty good. For activate main / battle limit 1, of course, your opponent places the top card of their deck in the drop area. Your opponent may choose one of their Unison cards and remove 2 markers from it. If they don't, draw 1 card and choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and set it to owner's warp. I have it here as a tech option, mostly against Unisons such as the Red Gogeta.
Mm-hmm.
Because after they use a minus skill in activate battle, if they lose the marker on the Unison, it also loses its bonuses. So it will lose the power up and it will lose the double strike. And if they do not choose it, it's always draw 1, mill 2, draw 1, and chaos and warp something. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty
but
good.
I don't think more than 1 is necessary. And last but not least, our SCR of the deck, Black Smoke Dragon. For those who do not know, it's permanent. This card can't attack. If you have 12 or more cards in your drop area, which you will, probably after turn 2, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 5. So there is an option to play him cheaper than 10. And it has 3 options for its activate main. Once per turn, choose 1. Choose all of your opponent battle cards, ignoring barrier, and send them to owner's warp. So cleans the table. Mill the top 7 of your opponent's deck.
Which can be super devastating.
Warp. Yeah, and draw 2 cards. Or choose 4 cards from your opponent's hand and set it to their warp. I really do like the versatility that this card gives me. If I play it and my opponent has 9 cards in his deck, he loses the game, basically.
Yeah.
I use the leader's ability to Spirit Boost 1. I use the negative energy charge. So he mills 1. I play the dragon for 4 energy. I use the effect to mill 7 cards from his deck and draw 2. That's 8 cards. I pass the turn. He draws 1 card. That was 9. He loses.
Yeah. Insane. Absolutely insane. Really, the boost that this deck needed.
Yes, it really did. The boost gave it a lot of power right now. This SCR is vulnerable. If you are not sure you will win this turn, do not play it.
Yeah, it is
unless you have a very good reason to play it. For example, the pesky yellow barrier cards that people keep on their table, which have barrier and really make your life miserable, then sure. Or, for example, I had matches on my locals where, for example, it's turn 4, my opponent has only 4 cards in hand and is tapped out, and he has no Unison, for example, on his table, so I know that the counterplay is not coming, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's warp the hand, for example. During one of the games, which I won during Team Wars, this SCR was on the table for almost 5 rounds, I believe. It was 4, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like, okay, first of all, let's get rid of this yellow slug I do not like, and let's get rid of this yellow SS4 Goku rare. Yeah, let's warp it. Then, okay, you have some cards in your hand. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's warp your hand. After that, I milled the deck twice, and it was practically game after that.
Nice. Well, yeah, we've hit 45-minute mark already, man. Like this is a huge breakdown.
Yeah, it's a complicated deck. It's difficult to explain how it works in less detail, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It took me a long time before I managed to learn how to use all the cards effectively. I also would like to give a shout out to the Kaio Chris YouTube channel, because this is mostly his list that I tweaked, so it would better suit my needs for the deck. But yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, well, there you go, guys. MAREK'S another top 8 deck profile. Black again, and yeah, SYN Xeno. Amazing. So, Marek, thanks for coming again to our YouTube channel to do another deck profile. And yeah, it's been great talking with you. So, guys.
Yep, I feel the same. It was an awesome interview.
So, guys, this has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.